Hello boys and girls, Ant here, and we're doing a Mellow Gaming Recommends of a different variety today. Normally we're doing, look at one game, or look at a couple of games, but today what we're going to do is we're going to take on the 30-day video game song challenge. It was a thing that was going around social media during lockdown, which is still going on as of the time of recording this. This will be a lot more casual and relaxed sort of approach to things, but it's going to be a bit lengthy, as you can see by the timeline down here. So what the challenge involves is 30 days of picking songs. So basically every day you pick a song and each song has a different criteria. So in the video game one, there'll be a day for 16-bit songs, a day for racing game songs, stuff like that. And what I've done is I've put together a list of all the songs that I think fit those categories that I really like, and I'm going to recommend them to you. The only rule I've put into this is that I'm not going to be repeating any games on the list. So you might see games from the same franchise, but no one game will appear twice, so I'm trying to make sure that there's at least 30 different games for you to check out the music to. So let's get started with day one. Day one on the list is title screen music, and as you know I'm a bit of an aficionado of title screens, and the game I wanted to pick out is one that has incredible music. It's by the legendary Tim Follin, who basically was well known for doing progressive and jazzy sounding music. And the game that I've chosen for the first day is Solstice on the NES. This is a tricky game, but it's worth playing just to vibe to the music in it. Let's go. Day 2 on the list is opening level music. Now, loads of games kick off with a bang, and you might think that I would have picked something from a Castlevania or a Mega Man or something, because all those games always kick you off with an amazing piece of music at the start. But, at the risk of making this a very Nintendo NES centric video, I picked, Batman on the NES. The track on the first level is called Streets of Desolation. It's also used on a game on the PC Engine version of the game. And it is a lot funkier there, but it's not on the first level, and also that game's kind of a bit ropey. This game's a lot better. It's a classic NES action game. And the first level music, Streets of Desolation, is a proper thumping, the moment it starts playing, you'll hit the groove. Let's check it out. Day 3 on the list is just 8-bit music. That's pretty straightforward. That gives you the full range of music from the NES, the Master System, PC Engine and the like. PC Engine would have a bit of an advantage there, to be honest, but because I'm predictable, and I promise you this is not a trend for the whole video, I picked another NES game, this time DuckTales, specifically the moon theme from DuckTales, which is absolutely glorious, and they even did a lyrical cover of it in the recent DuckTales cartoon, which was pretty sweet. It really felt nice. They turned it into a bit of a sort of song of longing, as it were. But in the game it's just a magical space theme, and even the remake version has a really good version. In fact, everyone on the internet has covered this and they're all great. So yeah, check out the moon theme from DuckTales. Day 4 is music from a console exclusive series, and I was trying to think of various console exclusives, and Halo sort of crept in there a little bit, but to be honest, I only really care about the actual theme from Halo, the da-da-da-da. Don't care about the rest of the music from it. And the thing is, with a lot of console exclusives, they've gradually moved on to other formats and stuff, and it would be easy to pick a Mario piece of music, but instead I picked, wait for it, it's our boy Nate. I picked the theme from Uncharted. It's a good theme. It gets you in the mood. Check it out. Yeah, I have an Nathan Drake statue. Day 5 is hub world / overworld themes. I took this to mean any area that's a large expansive area that connects to other areas, because you don't always, like a hub in a game is a small place that branches off to other areas, like the first level of Turok. But I figured it's going to be a big area that branches off to other places, and I picked probably my favourite RPG Plains music of the lot, the one that is just the perfect wandering through an environment, going on adventure music, and that's the Gower Plains theme from Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii, and also on the Switch now, and the 3DS. It's on a few consoles, but the Gower Plains music is fantastic, and I don't have it to hand to hold up to the camera, so there goes that bit I was doing. Day 6 is music that makes you feel relaxed. There's only one game that I really play to chill out to relax with, and that's Animal Crossing. I could have picked something from Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is the one everyone's playing now, but to be honest, the music I associate with Animal Crossing is that title theme music from the very first GameCube / N64 game. It's just a nice, cool, rolling little sort of soft tune that gets you into the mood of being in a sort of vacation area or just living a life and stuff. It kind of reminds me of just a soft, chill theme that you'd listen to as an easy listening situation. I don't know, I'm not a music critic. Anyway, I like the Animal Crossing thing. Let's give it a listen. We're at the end of the first week, and the theme for Day 7 is a piece of music from an indie game. And there's a lot of indie games out there, and there's a lot of indie games I love. You can't see it here, but there's a copy of Assault Android Cactus behind me. That probably would have been in here, but I wanted to save that for later. Spoilers. But Day 7, I decided to go with Pushing Onwards from the game V, or VVV, or however you're supposed to say the title. Terry's pretty unclear about it. Now, the music is just pure fun, sort of chiptune-y brilliantness. It's got that Commodore 64 sound to it, but hyped up to a crazy degree. Proper banger of a tune, and it's the one that you think of when you play this game. It sticks in your head, and it's the one that you'll recall. Classic piece of music. Check out VVV. I did a video about Terry Kavanagh's games ages ago. He liked it. Give it a watch. I talk about that game a lot. Day 8 is music from a first or third person shooter, and really, like, instantaneously, as soon as this came up, I didn't even think about anything modern. I went right back to the game that's like probably the one that made first person shooters like popular, the one that defined them, and that's Doom. And it has to be E1M1 from Doom. It's the first level music, it's the guitar riff that kicks in as soon as you start the game, and every good version of Doom has it. Actually, some of the bad versions have it as well, but it's the way you start off Doom, and it is just chugging guitar riffs. They even call back parts of the riff element from it in the new Doom, in Doom 2016. Absolutely love this piece of music. If I could learn to play guitar, it would be the song I'd rock out to all the time. I have a guitar. I can't learn to play guitar. Guitars are difficult. Don't make me learn how to play guitar. Day 9 is music from a licensed game, and I am a bit of a connoisseur for licensed games, specifically that sort of, the 16-bit, 32-bit era of licensed games. I tend to buy them up because they're generally really cheap and no one gives a crap about them, but some of them are absolute treasures, and one that I really love is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on the SNES, and the first level music for that is fantastic. The music was composed by one of the composers who's worked on the Castlevania games. I'll put her name somewhere here because I can't remember it off the top of my head. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is a fantastic little brawling game on the Super NES, and I'm going to be covering it soon, possibly. So yeah, check out the music. It's called Area 1 City. Not the most brilliant name for a music track, but it's good enough for us. Check it out. Day 10 is RPG battle music, and this is another one where there's only one theme that sticks in my head, and I'm going to reach off camera, bring it over. It's the fighting battle theme from Final Fantasy VII. It's actually called Fighting. I think it's the iconic RPG battle music. It makes you want to hit stuff with a giant sword, and it's fun. I don't think any of the battle music from the following Final Fantasy games quite matches what this one had going on. The soundtrack in Final Fantasy VII is top-notch stuff. But yeah, check out the battle theme from Final Fantasy VII. It's an easy pick, I know, but give it a check, I didn't say all these were going to be obscure. Day 11 is puzzle game music, and you might think, Anne, you're a bit of a Tetris obsessive. Yeah, I was tempted to pick a piece of music from Tetris, but instead I was like, you know what game I really love? It's Panel de Pon. I love Panel de Pon. I had Pokemon Puzzle League, I had to sell it. I've got the GameCube puzzle collection, and I only brought that because it has Panel de Pon in it, and recently they put Panel de Pon on the Switch Super Nintendo game set, which made me really happy. So I picked Lips theme from Panel de Pon. I'm good at that game. I'm really good at it. I love Panel de Pon. It's so good. Play it. Tetris Attack, it was called in America. That's a stupid name for it. It's Panel de Pon. Day 12 is music that makes you feel sad, and I was trying to think of music in games that actually makes me feel a bit down in the dumps and stuff. And I've already picked a Final Fantasy tune, so it can't be Aerith's theme from Final Fantasy. But the one I picked was actually, so I thought about it a bit more. The one I ended up picking isn't actually a sad piece of music. It's actually Sakura's theme from Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. The reason this gets picked, and I'll try not to make this too much of a downer and stuff, but when I was younger, me and my mum used to play this game non-stop in the evenings. Like, she loved playing it and I loved playing it with her. When Paul used to come round, my Mellow Gaming Let's Play buddy, he used to join in as well, and we'd be like taking turns, winner stays on. It was mostly me staying on, to be honest, because people really struggled to beat me on Super Puzzle Fighter. I'm ludicrously good at this, at least I was. But whenever I think about this game and the music from it, I think about spending time with my mum. And even though those were happy memories and stuff, it's sad. My mum passed away like 12 years ago, and it's still one of those things that I miss about having her around. I haven't actually played Super Puzzle Fighter since then. I didn't even touch that mobile phone game they brought out. But I have been considering doing a video about this because it is a game very near and dear to my heart. So yeah, music that makes me feel sad. Super Puzzle Fighter. The really upbeat, up-tempo track, Sakura's theme. That makes me feel sad. Day 13 is music from a game you don't like, which was actually pretty difficult because if you don't like a game, you don't tend to remember that much about it. Like, I tend to just push it out my mind. Like, the music that tends to stick with you is the music you heard when you're having fun. If you're not having fun with a game, you're probably not going to remember the music. But I thought back to a Let's Play Paul and I did a while ago of an utterly terrible game, and how friggin' rocking the music was in it. Like, the game is utter pans, but the music in it is like some lost Super Nintendo early PS1, it is early PS1 music, but it's like this lost chiptune brilliance, all like synth sampled sound files and stuff. And I'm gonna go grab the game. It's Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue on the PS1. The music in this game is way better than it has any right to be. And I know I said I wasn't going to pick music from the same game. This is a different game to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is later, so I didn't say anything about games from the same series, so shut up. But yeah, Vipra's theme from this. It's one of the first boss battles you get into, and the music is just rocking. Check it out now. Day 14 is music featuring vocals, and that gives like a wide range of music to pick from. I mean, you could have Jump Up Superstar from Super Mario Odyssey, you could have like tracks from Guitar-Roo Man. I guess this opens up the possibility of music from Rock Band, which would mean I'd probably just end up picking some Rush. But I didn't. I picked some music from a game that I have been obsessed with since late last year and actually covered in the last Mellow Gaming Recommends. And that music is Wild Hearts Never Die from Sayonara Wild Hearts. That game is an experience, and when you play the game and get to the point where this music kicks in, it's the one that plays as the turning point comes in the story in the last act, as you get to the final part of the game where instead of punching your exes in the face, your character jumps up to them and gives them a little kiss on the cheek, like she's accepting them as part of who she is. It makes the ending of this game work so well. The whole ending music is part of a medley, and this is like one segment of the medley, but it is, as far as I'm concerned, it's the theme for the game, and it's a great theme.
They said diamond knives couldn't
we're halfway there. Day 15 is boss fees, and I picked a boss theme that has been stuck in my head constantly for the last 9 months or so, because I've played the game a ridiculous amount. And yes, it's another game I covered in the last Mellow Gaming Recommends. This is the first level boss theme from Slay the Spire. You can actually get a reprise of it later on if you happen across a certain challenge that lets you play a boss from an earlier stage. This music is just like a perfect big battle theme. It's got that adventurous, you're raging into a massive battle and you're probably going to die. A little bit ominous feeling, but it's fantastic. And I just love smacking giant slimes to death listening to this. The music in Slay the Spire is really good. No one talks about it, but it's really good. I'd love to hear some people do some covers of it on the internets, if at all possible. That'd be great. I'd listen to it. Link me it if you've covered the music from Slay the Spire. Day 16 is, appropriately enough, 16-bit music, and you may notice that I'm a bit of a 16 and 8-bit music fan. The music that I would pick is probably one of the first bits of 16-bit music that I had driven into me. Not the first I heard, but when I first got my Mega Drive back in the early 90s, this was one of the first games I played on it, and it's Revenge of Shinobi. The music in Revenge of Shinobi is top notch. That's why I own the vinyl soundtrack. It's fantastic to listen to on vinyl. And the music I've picked specifically is Sunrise Boulevard from Revenge of Shinobi. It's a couple of stages into the game. It shows off what the Mega Drive does in terms of sounds and stuff. Pretty early on in Mega Drive as well. A lot of Mega Drive games, especially the earlier ones, kind of sound a bit awful. I'm being controversial there, I know. People like Yuzo Koshiro really made that console sing. Not literally, because it doesn't have a mouth and it can't say words very easily, but he made it sing in the sense of chiptune music. Listen to it, okay? Day 17 is music you never get tired of, and this was where I was going to have to put the Castlevania music in. I love me some Castlevania. Look, it's right there. That's Castlevania 3 soundtrack on the NES and Famicom. But I'm not picking a tune from that one specifically. I mean, the track's on there because it's Castlevania. The same music's on practically every game, but they rejig it. Specifically, I'm picking the theme from Dracula X Rondo of Blood, Vampire Killer. But Vampire Killer is the quintessential Castlevania song to me. It is the perfect song for that game. It sets you off on the action adventure, cracking some whips and stiff stuff. Cracking whips and stuff. I'm not going to edit that out, I'm going to leave that in. Whatever. Dracula X Rondo of Blood, Vampire Killer. Moving on. Day 18 is music from a game from the year you were born. And this is the thing that convinces me that the person who wrote this list is 18 or 20 or something, because they can remember back and be like, oh yeah, PlayStation 1, great music and stuff. I was born in 1982. Games didn't have music in 1982. I feel sorry for Corey from My Life in Gaming. I had to go back to 1978. He was stuck with the Space Invaders music on his video. Like, anyway, 1982, I went through a list of games released in 1982. Eventually I saw Dig Dug, and I was like, oh yeah, Dig Dug's music's pretty cool. Do you know what I like about Dig Dug? I don't know, but I know that I like it. Dig Dug. That was lyrics from a song about Dig Dug by Rebel Gaming Club. Look up Rebel Gaming Club, they're quite fun. Small channel, a bit bigger than me, but you know, they're fun. Check them out. Dig Dug. Day 19 is a cover of music by a different artist, and for a while I was thinking I'd be funny and pick one of those slightly ropey covers from a Rock Band game or Guitar Hero that they used to have. And then I thought, you know what's good? The music from Guitar Hero 3, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, that's pretty cool. Steve Vai cover of that classic song. But then, in my heart of hearts, I knew I was going to end up picking something from a Power Rangers game. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie game has, on the Mega Drive, has music based on the TV show, the music of Ron Wasserman, and there's a cover of We Need a Hero in there, and it is like really perfect chiptune example of covering a song in chiptune format. There's a few games that have done this around the time, like in the early 16-bit era you had stuff like Rock and Roll Racing, which had licensed versions of things like Paranoid by Black Sabbath, but I'm going to go with Ron Wasserman rather than, you know, multi-award winning platinum selling artist Ozzy Osbourne. I'm going to go with the guy who did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme tune. Just listen to this, it's great. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, it is a different game. I haven't repeated a game. On the Mega Drive, yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on the Mega Drive is good. Check it out, the movie one, not the regular game. The regular Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game is friggin' terrible. Don't play that. The Mega Drive one's great. The movie one. I'm getting my words mixed up. Just listen. Day 20 is music from a racing game, and I was going to pick something from Wipeout on the PS1 because it's like an iconic soundtrack, something by Cold Storage. And then I was like, you know, doing the rest of this list, going along, and I was starting to think, is there any other music from racing games I can think of? You know, Mario Kart or something like that. You know, that's the sort of racing games I play. I play a lot of Forza 2, but I tend to put custom soundtracks on when I play the older Forza games. So I ended up just like, you know, thinking about what racing games had good music. And then I remembered Sonic R on the Sega Saturn and the amazing soundtrack. Can You Feel the Sunshine is a banger of a tune. It also has lyrics, I could have used it earlier. It's a fantastic piece of music. The soundtrack to Sonic R is way better than that game deserves. The game's not great. I mean, it's not the worst game. Right? It's not the worst Sonic the Hedgehog game. It's not the worst 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game. But it is a game that has amazing music, so yeah, check it out. I don't have a copy of it anymore because Sega Saturn games are expensive and I needed money, so I don't know what I'm going to put in for footage here. But Sonic R, great music.
Can you see the sun is shining on me? It makes me feel so free, so alive. It makes me want to survive. And the sky, it makes me feel so high.
Day 21 is music you associate with frustration, and at first I instantly thought the drowning music from Sonic the Hedgehog, the that music, but it's only 13 seconds long, so that would sound pretty terrible in the video, like it would be over before I get to the next bit of talking. So then I thought, you know what's a portent of doom? It's the Labyrinth Zone music from Sonic the Hedgehog, because that's the music that comes right before you get that drowning sound. I hated Labyrinth Zone as a kid. The bits where you're constantly sliding down that repeating path and you have to try and figure out how to get out of it. The fact that when you get to the third stage of Scrap Brain Zone, it makes you go back to like a fake Labyrinth Zone, just a grey version of it. Labyrinth Zone was a portent of doom. The boss battle at the end is the worst one in the game, where you're just slowly jumping up a bunch of paths. You can't actually beat the boss, he just flies off. But yeah, Labyrinth Zone is a frustrating level, and the music on it, whilst the music itself I don't associate with frustration, I associate it with what's going to happen in that level, which is usually me drowning. Sonic drowns brutally, not as brutally as Mario in Mario 64, but it's just, that drowning music is horrible, and the Labyrinth Zone is horrible. So yeah, Labyrinth Zone on Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on the Mega Drive. Day 22 is town/village theme, which, you know, is obviously going to be RPG heavy. I went for a really obvious one, really. It's the Kakariko Village music from Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That music is like quintessential town theme. The Legend of Zelda games have great music, and I love Link to the Past. It's a fantastic game. It's worth playing. You can play it on your Nintendo Switch. It's on that SNES thing they've got on there. Give it a go, play it, listen to the music in the Kakariko Village. It's good stuff. Day 23 is underrated music, and I took that as music that no one ever talks about really. Like, you could say from an underrated game, but even underrated games get their music, you know, shouted about all the time. So the music I decided to pick was one called Sinful Rose from Disgaea 2. The Disgaea games all have fantastic music. They're always this anthemic, like, big sounding rock music, or they're like, you know, just orchestral strings and stuff, violins and all this sort of stuff. They sound a lot grander than you'd expect a game of its type to have, because the Disgaea games, while being RPGs, are extremely silly RPGs, but the music in Disgaea 2 I think is the high point for the series. There's certain tunes from other games that like stick in my mind more often, but Disgaea 2 soundtrack in total is fantastic. So yeah, Sinful Rose from Disgaea 2. Day 24 is music that you constantly have stuck in your head, and there's only one piece of music this could be. It's a piece of music where someone just has to mention the name of the game and it is instantly, it's in my head now already. It's the music from Bubble Bobble. It sticks there in your head forever. Ever since I played it on the NES originally back in the 80s, me and my mates used to play through that game all the time. From then, I didn't play the game for like 20 years probably, and it was still just coming up in my head all the time. So yeah, Bubble Bobble, the arcade version or the NES version, any of them, they're all great. The music's a nightmare though. Day 25 is music that gets you pumped, and it could only be from one game. Assault Android Cactus, my beloved. The music in this game is done by Jeff Van Dyke, who's a veteran of the industry, going all the way back to Skitchin on the Mega Drive. He's done the music for Alien Isolation, the Total War games, just all sorts of stuff. But his music on Assault Android Cactus is like this dynamic pulse-pounding music that's just frigging great. Fingerstyle, specifically from this track, it just instantly gets me in the mood for shooting millions and millions of bullets all over the place. And yeah, Assault Android Cactus, I mean, I've raved about this game enough. It's probably got more videos on my channel than anything else, but the music, flipping rad. Day 26 was a tricky one. It's music that I like from a game I haven't played, which is, you know, I mean, how do you pick out music when you haven't played the game? Like, that's where you hear the music most of the time. I'm not going to sit here just randomly playing music on YouTube and Spotify, am I? You know, I'm just going, oh, I've never heard the soundtrack to this random game, so but there is a piece of music that I always remember from a game that when I say I haven't played, I've played like a few minutes of a PC fan-made remake of it. I've never actually played the game itself, and that is some of the music from Silent Hill 2 on the PlayStation 2, and they did like a really shoddy port on the Xbox 360 and PS3. That collection's bad. That's why there's a fan remake coming on PC that they're doing. But yeah, the music from Silent Hill 2 is fantastic. It is one of those ones where I have actually listened to the soundtrack of it despite not playing the game, because scary games scare me and they make me cry. We're in the home stretch now, lads. Day 27 is music from a handheld game, and I used to play a lot of handheld games. Like, I had a Game Boy when I was younger, a Game Boy Advance. I've owned multiple Game Boy Advances, got Game Boy Colors and DS's coming out my ear holes, and so there was a lot of music for me to pick from. But the one piece of music that I always love, I think it has an underrated soundtrack, and it's not the most obscure game in the world. Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. The music from the first stage is the music I associate with Mario Land, with Super Mario Brothers in general. But the music I've picked out is Muda Kingdom from Super Mario Land. It is just a lovely, bouncy piece of music that is just brilliant. And I wish Nintendo would bring the music from those games back. They quite often bring music from older Mario games back in like their Mario Maker and their 2D Mario games and stuff, but nothing from Mario Land. Let's get some love from Mario Land out there. Anyway, Muda Kingdom from Super Mario Land. Day 28 is music that makes you nostalgic. I know a few YouTuber buddies of mine are big into nostalgia, and I don't tend to delve into nostalgia too much. When I talk about retro games, I talk about them in the present tense rather than the past tense a lot of the time. But there's one game which just instantly I was like, that's my nostalgia game, because it reminds me of so many great times just sitting around figuring out a game myself before the internet was a thing. And that game is, I'm just going to grab it, Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PS1. Yeah, I have an actual copy of this. These things are flipping expensive. I bought this for £12 back in the 90s because no one wanted these games back then. This was my game back then. Like, I didn't have internet connection, you sat there, you played it. I finished the game, or at least I thought I finished it, and then I read in a magazine about a second castle, and I'm like, wait, what? And so I started playing the game and aiming for 100%, and found the glasses and, beat Richter, went to Richter, and there's the guy in the orb and you fight him, and then this second castle comes out the sky upside down, and that was like, holy crap, there's like a whole second half of the game to this. I have many fond memories of playing this game. It is possibly like my favourite game of all time, maybe, and this is definitely getting the Mellow Gaming Recommends treatment someday. My knowledge of this game is ridiculous now, not just thanks to the internet, just thanks to playing it constantly. The music I have specifically picked out is Marble Gallery. It's the only piece of Castlevania music that isn't like a rock anthem of some kind that sticks in my head. It's just a nice classical style tune. Like, this game has different music to all the other Castlevanias. It's very much a sort of more classical music inspired, a gothic music, rather than the usual rocking riffs. This is my nostalgia game. This is the game I always think of. You'd think it'd be something a lot earlier, like a ZX Spectrum thing or something, but they didn't have music. This is a specific point in time for me, was just playing PS1 games on school holidays and stuff, like the weekends, and getting properly involved in them, figuring everything out myself before the internet came along and ruined everything, and everyone just started telling you everything about games. I had the ending of the Final Fantasy VII Remake spoiled for me before I even had a chance to get a copy of the game. Twats. Day 29 is final boss music, and I did, up until recording this right now, have the final boss music from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 planned there. But then I went back up the list and remembered that I'd already picked Labyrinth Zone for another piece of music, for frustrating music. So in a sort of ironic level of frustration, Labyrinth Zone has caused me more frustration. So I've ended up picking what was my second choice, and that is the final boss music from Shadow of the Colossus, which I haven't ever played on the channel. One day I should. That's a beautiful, beautiful game. But yeah, it's a big, sweeping, epic piece of music that accompanies a giant boss. And what we'll play now is not footage of the giant boss from the end of the game, because I haven't got a copy of the save file there. I've got it twice, but I don't want to play through the entire game just to capture 10 seconds of footage. But anyway, final boss music from Shadow of the Colossus. Got to change my list now. Day 30 is rather aptly end credits music. There's like not many end credits themes that stick in my head, but one actually almost like sort of got an emotional reaction from me, which is like weird. And that is Lise's Lullaby. I'm probably not saying Lise right, but Lise's Lullaby from Disgaea 5. That game, as you go through it, you're constantly told about this girl called Lise. And when you finally get to the point where things catch up to her and the story explains who she was and what she meant to the main character and stuff, and she becomes part of the crew, you start to understand why the main character is obsessed with her a little bit or holds her in high regard. The music itself on the end credits is just this beautiful song like a ballad of sorts. And it's just like one of those ones where when you finish the game and this music plays, and it's just like, damn, that's the end. I've gone on a journey, and it's just beautiful. And I'm going to let it keep playing over the end credits, which I did on the Disgaea video as well, because I love the music so much. The Disgaea retrospective episode of Mellow Gaming Recommends, which you're welcome to watch if you want to. I don't know if it's longer than this video or not yet. We'll find out. This video is going to be long. Anyway, Lise's Lullaby.
「した世界にぽつり愛が降る」「うわゆらい」「私たち少し走り疲れたね」「強くなくてごめん」
So that was my 30-day video game music challenge. It went a bit all over the place. I made a mistake and had to change one of them at the last minute, you know, but it was a fun adventure in picking music out, like getting into the back of my mind and figuring out what pieces of music represent certain things. Could have done without a couple of the options on here, they were a bit tricky, but I guess that just made it more of an adventure. What are some of your songs that you would pick for your 30-day challenge? You know, feel free to put an entire list in the comments. It'll be a long comment and people only see the first two on there before that show more button appears, but you know, go ahead and do it. Or maybe make your own video and link it to me and I'll check it out. So yeah, that's the 30-day song challenge of Mellow Gaming Recommends. Bit of a different video this time, bit more of a relaxed, chilled thing. I didn't script any of this because I knew if I scripted it, it would go on forever. If I had scripted it, I probably would have written about 1,000 words for every single song on the list. And I have a nightmare of a time recording voiceover as it is. So yeah, a bit more of a casual affair this time. Normal service resumes shortly. I'm going to get to work on the next episode real soon. So yeah, I'll catch you later. And thanks for watching if you got this far in the video, which I'm assuming is going to be a good 40 minutes long. Bye!